Muy feo. drives the rain, and my roof is in the dust. Loved of wise men was the shade of my roof tree. The true word of welcome was spoken in the dawn. Dear days of old, with the faces in the firelight, kind folks of old, you come again no more. Home was home then, my dear, full of kindly faces. Home was home then, my dear, happy for the child. Fire and the windows bright glittered on the moorland. Song, tuneful song, built a palace in the wild. Now when day dawns on the brow of the moorland, lone stands the house and the chimney stone is cold. Oh, let it stand now, the friends are all departed. The kind hearts, the true hearts that loved the place of old. Spring shall come, come again, calling up the moorfowl. Spring shall bring the sun and rain, bring the bees and flowers. Red shall the heather bloom over hill and valley. Soft flow the stream through the even flowing hours. Feather day shine as it shone on my childhood. Fair shine the day on the house with open door. Birds come and cry there and twitter in the chimney, but I go forever and come again no more.
For the wonderful diversity of the human family, for our ongoing search for truth and justice, and for having companions in this adventure we call life. Come, let us worship together. And here to light our chalice is the Tamashasky family, Adam, Sarah, Ella, Sydney, and Nora.
Gratitude and lament sometimes walk hand in hand like long-lived lovers passing stalls at a bazaar.
This broken bowl, says lament.
Yes, says gratitude, but this glue.
This empty chair, says lament.
Yes, says gratitude, but this memory.
This darkening night, says lament.
Yes, says gratitude, but this candle.
This passing world, says lament.
Yes, says gratitude, but this hour.
come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are. Come, come, whoever you are. Come to worship whoever you're leaving. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Come to worship whoever you're leaving. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no yet again come despair. Come, yet again come.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to All Souls Church. My name is Jana Owens, and my pronouns are she and her. And I have been a very proud member of All Souls for 20 years. Welcome to all who have joined us this morning, especially if you're joining us for the very first time. Now, if you're new or you recently started joining our services and you would like to be included on our mailing list, you can send a direct message to Gary Penn. Gary is our Director of Membership. You know, we're now a global community church, and where our name, All Souls, says it all. And we invite you to join us on our journey of faith and of hope. Now, in an effort to acknowledge and support Indigenous communities, it's important, very important, that we recognize the land on which our church stands. The closest tribe was the Nacotchtank, from which the name Anacostia is actually derived. And they were in turn part of the Piscataway group of tribes. We acknowledge that Indigenous peoples were here long before us, are here with us now, and will continue to be with us as we look forward to the future. So let's take a moment of silence and let's reflect on whose land we each reside in our individual and collective locations around the US and also our planet Earth. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce our Director of Membership, who is Gary Penn, as we're going to formally welcome new members to All Souls. Gary?
Good morning, All Souls. This morning, we welcome 20 new members who joined All Souls this year. As I read their names, I invite you to behold their faces and welcome them into our All Souls community. And after we've welcomed these new members, let's spend a couple of minutes beholding one another as we gather together to create community. Let's welcome Amanda Cornelia, Barb Burr and Wayne Warren, Chris Fields Figueredo, Cynthia Pratt, Donna Welton, Heather Tompkins, Joelle Laguerre, Julie James, Pat Griffith, Keela Davis, Linda and John Matthews, Ryan Tong and Cecilia Latorre Ramirez, Neil Payne and Sharina Coteles Payne, Sabrina Alano Sarah Veldkamp, Terry Harris and Dara Schumeyer, Trisha Ryan, Nada Petrovich, and Nina Wang. Welcome, new members.
Good morning, All Souls. I'm Dolores Miller, the Director of Religious Education. The All Souls theme for the summer is Journey. And what a remarkable journey we have been on this past church year. We so appreciate all the RE teachers, advisors, and facilitators who've shared this journey with our children and youth. Now, if we were in person, we'd be thanking them with a brunch on the terrace with quiches and fruits and mimosas, but we're not there. But I think the thank you that we've created is just as special. And I guarantee that after viewing it, you're all going to be compelled to rush out and contact me to get involved with our children and youth in religious education. Enjoy.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, teachers. I love you so much. Heart. Thank you, Suzanne. I really like the activities you did. Thank you, Jody. Bye, Mom. Thanks, Daddy. Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Brenda, and for all the teachers. Thanks, Allison. Thanks. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mama. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Miss Alita.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Miss Caroline, for coming and helping us in our read every week. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, James and Caroline.
Thanks, Ruben, for another great year of youth group. You took youth group from a 10 to an 11.
Thanks for everything, Leah. You're the best.
Thank you, Martha, for all your hard work teaching High School OWL.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Mackenzie.
Thank you, T.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Emily.
Hey, Cameron. I really appreciate all of your effort this year teaching OWL.
We'll be together in person soon. We need you to be with us. You don't need to be a parent to share with kids and teens. And RE teachers gets lots of support. And if you volunteer to help in RE, you can get thanked in person by all of us cool kids. Contact Dolores to learn about the best fit for you in RE.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you!
Well, that was ridiculously adorable. I'm just going to watch that several times a day, every day, to feel good about the church and myself and the world. Whew, okay. Thank you, Dolores and Gary, and all the wonderful people who made that possible, teachers and students alike. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled programming. I am Rob Keithan, your Minister of Social Justice. I use he, him pronouns. Whomever you love, however you identify and express it, you are beautiful and you are welcome here. Happy Pride Month, everyone. The big announcement of the day is a reminder about the church's annual meeting, which is this afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m. on Zoom. For self-governing congregations like ours, the democratic process of the annual meeting is a direct expression of our religious belief in community and in each other. All are welcome to attend. To vote, you must be a member of the church and have made a donation of any amount within the last 15 months. Members wishing to vote must register by noon today. The link will be in the chat. This coming Wednesday, June 9th, kicks off the We Are Essential Fast for Freedom. It features a group of 11 fasters comprised of undocumented essential workers, TPS and DACA holders, as well as faith leaders from across the country. The purpose is calling for comprehensive and equitable immigration reform. I'll be participating in the launch event Wednesday afternoon from 3 to 5 on Capitol Hill, and I invite you to join me. There are also opportunities to fast in solidarity, and there's a deep need for non-medical support for the core fasters who will be inside a church fasting all month. And that job is simply to make sure that fasters get the water that they need when they need it, and that they have someone to talk to. We'll put the sign up link in the chat. Also, this coming Wednesday, June 9th, we'll have our monthly contemplative Vesper service starting at 7:30 p.m. The theme for that service and for the theme of the month for June generally is Journey. The link will be on the homepage. And finally, the church's plan for reopening our building and resuming in-person worship was included in Friday's weekly bulletin and is now on the website. The guidance and circumstances are, as you know, ever changing, so nothing is set in stone, but we're doing our best with the information available. We turn now to our pastoral concerns. And first, a larger and frankly, deeply unsettling concern, which has a widespread impact on Indigenous communities and beyond. In late May, researchers confirmed finding the remains of 215 children in an unmarked mass grave at the Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia. The findings confirmed what some former students believed and feared about classmates who disappeared and never came back. Harvey McLeod, who attended the school for 2 years in the 60s, said, "I lost my heart with so much hurt and pain to finally hear, for the outside world to finally hear what we assumed was happening there." There are truly no words that can adequately address this level of disrespect for human life. And yet we must speak about it because we have to name what actually happened in order to take responsibility for it and to offer even a shred of healing to the families and First Nations communities who lived with and who continue to live with the trauma of colonialism. So before we move on, let's just hold a moment of silence together. At All Souls, our hearts go out to a family that has lost 2 dear friends and is facing a serious medical diagnosis. Please hold this family, who wishes to remain anonymous for now, in your prayers, as they need to feel the support of this community. Also, the celebration of life for Bob Bloomfield is this Friday, June 11th at 4 p.m. There's a link on the homepage. And finally, we offer congratulations to Delabian Rice Thurston, who was recently honored by her alma mater, Grinnell College, with an award recognizing her work with Parents United in DC Public Schools from 1985 to 2000. And in the silence that follows, please say aloud the names of those you carry on your heart this morning. Spirit of life and love, God of truth and healing and justice. We have so much to learn, dear God, so much to learn about the ways we've mistreated each other, and so much to learn about how to do better. We pray for open hearts and strong souls. We pray for a willingness to accept hard truths and a resolve to make hard choices when they are the right choices. We pray for the full humanity and equality of all people. We pray for the full freedom and liberation of all people. Amen. Our reading today is The Path by Lynn Unger. Life, the saying goes, is a journey, and who could argue with that? We've all experienced the surprising turns, the nearly impassable swamp, the meadow of flowers that turned out not to be quite so blissful and benign as we first thought, the crest of the hill where the road smoothed out and sloped toward home. Our job, we say, is to remain faithful to the path before us, which is an assumption as common as it is absurd. Really, look ahead. What do you see? If there is a path marked out in front of you, it was almost certainly laid down for someone else. The path only unfolds behind us, our steps themselves laying down the road. You can look back and see the signposts, the ones you followed and the ones you missed, but there are no markers for what lies ahead. You can tell the story of how you forded the stream or got lost on the shortcut that wasn't, how you trekked your way to courage or a heart, but all of that comes after the fact. There is no road ahead. There's only the walking, the moving, the rolling forward. The tales we weave of our adventures and the songs we sing to call our companions on.
I have to add my good morning to All Souls and just acknowledge summer's almost here. The pandemic restrictions in this country are lifting and travel is picking up once again as people rebook trips they deferred last summer, or at least figure out something to get themselves out of town after about 15 months of staying in or staying home for some of us. I don't know, maybe you have a journey in your summer plans too, whether it takes you across the country or just across the city to someplace you've never been before. Our journeys are so oftentimes of self-discovery. So I have to tell you about a journey that I took. It was about 10 years ago. I had the opportunity to visit Israel and Palestine and explore the foreign yet familiar places I had read about in the Bible my entire life. And in particular, I wanted to see for myself the land and imagine the world in which Jesus of Nazareth had lived and died. So that was how I found myself standing in the city of Nazareth, preparing to take a pilgrimage of a lifetime. My husband and I were on sabbatical and we decided to hike what was called the Jesus Trail, which is a several-day hike from Nazareth to the Sea of Galilee. Hike in the footsteps of Jesus, the hip guidebook had told us. It was all there, a self-guided tour with maps, but no tour guides, no cheesy water into wine tasting stops, just the two of us, our backpacks, and the trail. So the first half a mile or so was lovely, had beautiful flowers on the side of the trail. But then as we looked across a road and took a hard turn, we started to notice trash alongside of the trail. Not just usual hiker's trash, but a discarded coffee cup, and then a broken doll's head, and then an old chair with its stuffing coming out. What was going on, we wondered. How could the Jesus Trail be so desecrated with all of this trash? Then we finally realized what the guidebooks had neglected to tell us, that the beginning of the Jesus Trail in the outskirts of Nazareth quickly and unavoidably goes right through what was apparently the town dump. So my vision of what I thought was going to be the spiritual journey in the footsteps of Jesus came smack against the reality of the everyday lives of those living in modern Nazareth. They had to dump their trash somewhere. Journeys and the unexpected surprises they can bring have much to teach us. So as you've heard by now from our Director of Religious Education and others, journey is our summer theme, and it's one that is, of course, rich with metaphor. Our lives are one journey from birth to death, and there are many journeys we take in between, from childhood to adolescence, coming of age, adulthood, partnership, or creating a rich life as a single person, parenthood, career, journeys into illness and recovery, the final journey into life's end. These are all worthy of an individual sermon, but today I want to explore this theme by recognizing the spiritual dimension of any journey, no matter how long or short the distance may be in miles, and that is more important than the distance you cover or the sights you see. So one of the reasons why many of us are here as part of a church community is because we are interested in learning about how to live a spiritual life. Many years ago, I decided I wanted to deepen my own spiritual journey in companionship with others. And so I signed up to study the art of spiritual direction at the Shalem Institute for Spiritual Direction. I had grazed on the diverse spiritual buffet that is available in Unitarian Universalism for a long enough time that I felt I was ready for clear guidance from an experienced teacher that I trusted. At Shalem, I met one such teacher and asked him something like this. I said, well, what do you do to help frame and structure the journey of your spiritual life? And he said this, he said, I follow 5 disciplines: daily practice, weekly worship, monthly service, annual retreat, and lifetime pilgrimage. Since then, I've adopted this framework for my own life, and I want to explore this structure for a lifetime spiritual journey with you, but I actually want to start talking about them in reverse order, with the last one first, pilgrimage. And in doing so, I'm taking up this most dramatic of the 5, the one that you might do once in a lifetime, and working our way back to a journey that we can take every single day. And I hope to show how all 5 of these spiritual structures for living are nestled together like Russian dolls, from the largest to the smallest, in one whole. So let's start. There are many ways at looking at the challenge of undertaking a once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage. Most of us do tend to think of it as going away to a far away destination, to a place of personal meaning. One definition is a pilgrimage often has a destination that is unknown or a foreign place, where a person goes in search of a new or expanded meaning about their self, nature, others, or a higher good. It can lead to personal transformation, after which the pilgrim returns to their daily life. That is, in part, a dictionary's definition of pilgrimage. So, for example, I know many of my colleagues of color not so long ago took a trip together to Ghana to pay homage to their ancestors who endured the Middle Passage. It was a powerful and painful pilgrimage done in the context of other Black and Brown Unitarian Universalists. Members of All Souls have told me about their pilgrimage trips to Hiroshima as part of the Heiwa Peace Project and pilgrimage. And more recently, I've heard stories about the trip to the Camino del Santiago. These are not trips for entertainment or pleasure. They are indeed pilgrimages, which require spiritual preparation. These trips can be far-flung, but I want to acknowledge there are pilgrimage sites close to home too, right here in DC, and I want to thank church member Shige Sakurai for this information. For example, the historic home of a former minister of All Souls, Moncure Conway, whom All Souls pushed out because of his commitment to abolitionism. Or the William Penn House, a Quaker site used as a worship space for the Sojourner Truth Congregation, an intentionally diverse congregation led by Reverend Yvonne Sion, the first Black woman to be ordained as a UU minister. In fact, as we begin this journey of celebrating All Souls' 200th year, I'm sure there are pilgrimage sites close to home that can be part of our own lifetime pilgrimage of All Souls history. Because what's important about a pilgrimage is not how far you travel, but the frame of mind you travel with. So the first question for us this morning is, how will you create time for a lifetime pilgrimage in your future this year? Well, maybe something that is that dramatic is not in the cards for you. Maybe it's even a little hard to imagine right now. But something more accessible to everyone is the next framework for shaping your spiritual life that my teacher recommended, an annual retreat, which is time set aside where your spirit is the focus. I know All Souls has in the past offered an annual retreat, and I hope that we'll be able to do that again sometime this year. Some of us have attended a UU camp or conference center with a week-long program of spiritual engagement. Or going to a retreat center by yourself is another possibility. But you can imagine a yearly retreat in many different ways. Maybe your yearly retreat is broken up in weekly chunks. I know of one church member who has taken a Saturday Sabbath away from her phone and computer. That's a retreat. The retreat time is not only for rest, it is a time to pay attention to the questions that arise. It is creating space for your own inner wisdom to guide you, and it will. But you need to take that retreat time to teach you how to listen. So how will you take an annual retreat this year? For some of us, the annual retreat is the place where we have had a revelation that shaped a plan for that lifetime pilgrimage. While an annual retreat means marking off special time once a year, of course, our lives are lived month to month, week to week, day to day. And we need to build into those time blocks the reminders of the spiritual journey we are on. No spiritual life is complete without acting on the values and the beliefs that you hold dear in those private times of personal exploration. So the third journey of living a spiritual life is the journey of service, at least monthly service. The spiritual question behind monthly service is, how am I serving needs greater than my own? Many times when we think of monthly service, we think of showing up for food bank distribution or volunteering at the soup kitchen, all absolutely fine and wonderful. But there are literally hundreds of ways that we can be or already are engaged in monthly service. And I just have to say that All Souls is actively and tirelessly working on issues such as migrant solidarity, hunger, homelessness, racial justice, police reform, transformative justice, DC statehood, fair housing, workers' rights, immigrants' rights, many more. Pick one area and make it your monthly volunteer commitment. And if you aren't sure, talk to my colleague, Reverend Rob Keithan. How will you incorporate monthly service into your life this year? The most consistent structure for living a spiritual life that All Souls offers us is what we're doing together right now, engaging in weekly worship. I don't need to tell you the importance of weekly worship at All Souls. You're already here. But those of you who are regular attenders at worship service know that each week you will find something here that moves you, that inspires you. We gather here at the collective well of ancient wisdom, of music, both contemporary and classical, of this ancient ritual we call liturgy, the people's work, as we place the context of our lives in the larger container of worship. So gathering weekly for worship is a spiritual practice and a discipline. And here's the other thing about weekly worship. It reminds us that we gather not just for our benefit alone. We gather to provide refreshment to one another. And it's not always going to be to everyone's taste or liking every week. Those of us who may long for more God and Jesus in the worship experience may get it once a week, or 1 week rather, and not another. Maybe those who would prefer a completely secular experience find it 1 week, not another. Those who identify as pagan, Hindu, Buddhist, Shinto, Jewish, Muslim may miss the familiar rites and rituals of that tradition and find them lacking in our weekly worship. It is our intention, however, over the arc of the year to create a worship experience that touches the mind, body, heart, and spirit in some way. Your weekly discipline to come to the well of worship is both an individual and collective spiritual practice. It is a commitment to share the spiritual journey with others in community. That's one of the reasons why we are encouraging you to worship this summer with our sibling congregations in what we're calling Preaching Up the Potomac Partnership. All Souls has an amazing worship service, but so do other fine UU churches. We are inviting you this summer to step into another congregation, to come not as spiritual tourists, but as pilgrims on a journey of the Spirit, as wanderers and worshipers. And then, of course, come back home to All Souls before or on time, in time for our homecoming Sunday on September 12th. So consider this question. How will you engage in weekly worship this summer, this year? And finally, last but not least, there is one last structure for our spiritual lives that invites us into this inner journey, and that usually doesn't involve going anywhere at all. And that is the journey of daily spiritual practice. Now, oddly enough, this one seems to be the most difficult one of all for many of us. So what do I mean by daily practice? Yes, it could mean simply the act of setting aside time every day for meditation, reflection, journaling, prayer. It can mean Tai Chi or yoga, focusing on your breath or your body. But even more than the individual action itself, what is important is the quality of attention you bring to that moment. Are you answering emails while sitting in meditation? Are you making your to-do list while reading sacred texts? True confession, I have done all of the above. And then there's the daily practice of simply maintaining your body and your mental well-being. So what are the daily practices you must do to sustain your body and your mind? And can you insist on those practices even when the world, or perhaps your own family, conspire against you doing them? For me, the daily practice of morning coffee, prayer and meditation, exercise, and a late afternoon nap all collaborate to keep me alert and rested and ready to bring my best self in service to others. Having a daily practice doesn't necessarily require you to buy expensive meditation or exercise equipment and sit in lotus position for hours on end. It does require you to bring your full attention for whatever time you can make to prepare your mind, body, heart, and spirit for whatever the day may bring. So I offer you these 5 different kinds of journeys in time and space as we enter this hopeful summer of reopening and the possibility of travel both near and far again. Whether your journey this summer may take you on a long-awaited pilgrimage to a place or to people sacred to you, or to something closer to home, I hope that you take these 5 commitments with you: daily practice, weekly worship, monthly service, annual retreat, and lifetime pilgrimage as guideposts for not only this summer, but for the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. The Chinese spiritual teacher Lao Tzu is reported to have said that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and that is true for each one of these practices. Each single step into even one of them is a point of entry and a source of inspiration for committing to each of the others. As Lynn Unger writes, she says, our job is to remain faithful to the path before us. But there is no road ahead. There is only the walking, the moving, the rolling forward, the tales we weave of our adventures and the songs we sing to call our companions on. So, dear friends, happy trails to you, happy dusty trails to you, wherever your journey takes you.
We've been gone for such a long time that I'm almost afraid to go home. A long road is a long can lead you to a golden road. I've been told, can't remember who it was or all he spoke. Will a penny for his thoughts leave me broke? 'Cause everyone's around and I'm still alone. Everyone's around right now and I'm still alone. I'm halfway to misery. Some say when you go halfway, there's still plenty of time to return. Oh, am I halfway to heaven here? Some may say when you go halfway, you only have halfway to go. Dusty trails can lead you to a golden road. I've been told, can't remember who it was or all she spoke. Will a penny for her thoughts leave me broke? 'Cause everyone's around and I'm still alone. Everyone's around right now and I'm still alone.
Hello again, All Souls. What beautiful music. Thank you, Jen and Rochelle and John Lee. This is that time in our service when we reflect on the gifts we have been given, like the gift of life and those things which sustain life, and the gifts of friendship and support, the gifts of resilience and endurance, and the gift of this church, which has continued to uplift and enfold us throughout these difficult times. If this church has given you something to think about, the music has touched you, if the faces you see today have brought you joy, then we invite you to return that joy with your personal energies and materials means. Please make your pledge to the church. You can pay on your pledge or make a donation now as we pass the virtual plate. Let us generously grace All Souls and its wide concerns with a portion of our bounty. This morning's offering will now be received.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in awe. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Go this day in peace and blessings. Go this day feeling supported and empowered for the journeys ahead. Go in peace this day.
Friends, we all know that this has been a challenging year, and it has been especially so for singers. We all adjusted to the steep learning curve of virtual music making, with special deep appreciation for William Kenlon and Gary Penn, the dynamic duo who have helped us create so much beauty and maintain community through this year. I am so proud of our archive of music, much of which is now available worldwide through our YouTube channel to share with friends and family. However, a year apart has reminded us that nothing compares to singing together. That's why, as the COVID vaccine became readily available, the All Souls Choir covenanted as a group to come together to sing outside and distanced once members were fully vaccinated. This recording is the result of our second week of singing together in person again. The song begins, "Sing to me comfort, sing to me home, sing to me friendships I have known, sing me a place where I belong." I hope you enjoy our first attempt at singing you all the way home.